Call to order this regular meeting of the Page County School Board.
Mr. Hayner,
Yes.
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Ms. Aldridge,
Yes.
Mr. Overfeld,
Yes.
Ms. Green, Mr. Bush,
Yes.
Ms. Overstreet,
Yes.
Ms. Wood.
Yes. Please pause for a minute of silence as we prepare for the meeting tonight.
Okay.
I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dr. Fox, do you have any agenda changes or additions?
I do not.
Can I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
I make some motion.
You second.
Second. I'll second.
We have a motion by Mr. Oberfeld and a second by Miss Alger to approve the agenda.
Mr. Hayner,
Yes.
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Ms. Aldridge,
Yes.
Mr. Overfeld,
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wood.
Yes.
Madam Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for the action discussed in closed session for roll call votes to certify personnel matters discussed in closed session, section 2.2-3711A1.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Sullivan Smoot and a second by Mr. Painter to certify personnel matters discussed in closed session.
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Ms. Aldridge,
Yes.
Mr. Overfeld,
Yes.
Mr. Hayner,
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wood.
Yes. Do we need a motion to open the have a motion to open the pre-budget hearing?
I make a motion. We open the pre-budget hearing.
Second.
We have a motion by Ms. Alger and a second by Ms. Sullivan Smoot to open the pre-budget hearing.
Mr. Samples, I don't think we can hear in the audience.
I think some of them we can, but mine not.
Okay.
No.
Over there you can. Is that better? Okay.
I think we got pulled closer.
All right. Thank you. Excuse me for interrupting.
You're fine. Nothing. Okay, so no comments. Can I have a motion to close the pre-budget hearing?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Oberfeld and a second by Ms. Sullivan Smoot to close the pre-budget hearing.
Ms. Aldridge,
Yes.
Mr. Overfeld,
Yes.
Mr. Hayner,
Yes.
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wood.
Yes. Do we have any citizen comment?
We do.
Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
A motion by Ms. Sullivan Smoot and a second by Mr. Oberfeld to approve the consent agenda.
Mr. Overfeld,
Yes.
Mr. Hayner,
Yes.
Ms. Bryant,
Yes.
Ms. Aldridge,
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smith,
Yes.
Ms. Wood.
Yes. Okay, now to Shenandoah School Nurse Recognition. Right? Yep.
Yes, if the board members would please join us in the front. We have an exciting presentation this evening and an honor and a recognition of Miss Tara Fox, the nurse from Shenandoah Elementary School. So Miss Fox, would you join us up front, please? And we'll get your family in just a moment, and we'll also get Miss Foltz, principal, we'll get all of you all down as well in support. Guys, Sebastian, you guys go down too, please. Thank you. Can we take a few steps to your right? There we go. Come stage center. Miss Fox, you have to be in the middle. Yeah, let's go center stage, please.
Keep going.
Yep. There we go. All right. Good job. Yep, you have to be front and center, Miss Fox. I know you don't want to be, but you have to be. So that's right. This is your night. So the school board, the faculty, the staff of Page County Public Schools, we are pleased and honored to recognize Ms. Tara Fox, Shenandoah school nurse, for her courage and her bravery. On November 6th, 2003, Ms. Fox was called to assist a colleague while at school. She immediately rendered life-saving CPR, ultimately resuscitating her colleague. Ms. Fox remained with her colleague until emergency services arrived and provided them with necessary information. Mrs. Fox, as a direct result of your immediate life-saving actions, you saved a colleague's life. You used your training, your skills, your knowledge to intervene when someone needed you the most. We're extremely grateful for your selfless act, for your formidable skills, and for your immediate action. Your actions demonstrate the kind of care, compassion, and action that is exemplified through the PCPS way. Thank you for being there and stepping up to assist when needed. You are indeed a true lifesaver. So thank you, and we honor you this evening. So don't leave yet, because I know you want to. How about, can we have your family come down and join? And then the staff, faculty and staff from Shenandoah who are here in support, would you all come down as well, please? And Miss Runyon will get some pictures for us. Kay, would you like to stand by Miss Fox? Yeah, let's get Kay next to Miss Fox. Great, thank you. Thank you. Nice to have good things happen. Yeah. You all are more than welcome to stay, but we would also understand if you didn't want to stay, but you're welcome to stay for the rest of business. But we won't be offended if you choose to leave for the evening.
Don't everybody get up at once.
Thank you for coming. Thank you, Shenandoah staff.
Right. Mr. Bush, I believe you are up for student representative update.
All right. All right. What has been happening at Page County High School? The biggest thing that has been going on right now is SOL testing. And we'll go ahead and say that a lot of this slideshow is empty due to, it's just the beginning of second semester. There's not a whole lot going on. And also it's the middle of winter, which is also a very slow time for just about everything. The FFA, we have strawberry sales going on right now, and we're starting a lot of planning and preparations for our steak dinner in April. And then we're having our livestock judging practices. Some of those are during school, during lunch, and some of those are after school. FCCLA, they are preparing for star events competitions. I'm not sure what they all consist of, but if y'all would like to know more, as always, let me know and I'll find out more for you. There is a history club, which is fairly new to Page County High School. They have a big project they're working on with the Library of Virginia, a possible hike of the Shenandoah National Park, and they have weekly trivia contests. The Fellowship of Christian Students, items donated from teachers and parents for members of the community. And they have also raised $327, and it is going to be divided among 3 local needs. And once again, I'm not sure what they are, but if you would like to know more, I will find that information out for y'all. TSA is starting up, and that is the Technology Students Association. And at the end, I know this has been a while ago now, but here's my kind of a recap on what I did at the Williamsburg trip. At first, there was a gentleman that came in, and he was kind of talking about hospitality and, what it is to be nice and how to have patience with people and how just simple things can make all the difference in an environment like this or in our school environment. There was another gentleman that was talking about architecture and different designs and stuff in schools and the difference that colors and the absence of colors can make in students, and how a lot of schools are picking small areas, classrooms that aren't being used, and maybe turning them into something for students, something maybe they can, a club or something can sign out for a lunch or something like that. Maybe that's just decorated a little bit nicer than your standard classroom, just something extra, something more for students to look forward to maybe. And he talked to me, there was various different ways of going about this. Some higher end schools, they knock down walls and do all kinds of stuff. But then, your more modest, smaller budget schools that just simple painting and furniture and a coffee maker can all make all the difference. Also, I conversed with a lot of members of other schools, peers, and, it's just really interesting. And I'd say one important thing I learned was that you can have multiple schools in one county. And just from talking to, several people that lived in the same county that were representatives from their own school, is that, just talking to them, there's a completely different demographic different schools may have, even in a smaller area. And just because one school may need one thing, that doesn't necessarily mean it's the best thing for both schools. That's the end of my presentation. I want to thank all of you for listening, and if you have any questions about anything, I'd be more than happy to answer as always.
Thank you, Sebastian.
Thank you. And if I may I clarify, Sebastian attended the Virginia School Boards Association Fall Convention as a student representative, and got to participate in activities that were designed just for the students. So we're glad you got that experience, and we thank you for going. So we appreciate your update tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.
Seacrest, monthly financials.
Yes, good evening, board members. You all have been provided with the monthly financials for December, where total expenditures and revenue were $3,768,573.44. Along with that, you have the local match calculation that we did balance with the treasurer. And if you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer those.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Ryman, computer science, STEM, and PCPS.
Yes, good evening, board members. It's my pleasure actually to hand the mic over to our awesome ITRTs in the division. They have been really excited and waiting to come talk to you about this and share the great work they're doing with our teachers and students related to computer science. So we've got Ms. Kristen Vaughn, Ms. Nicole Brumfield, and Ms. Tracy Schifflin. Hand it to them.
Hi, everyone. I don't need a microphone. So we started this grant. We got a grant for $186,000 for our 4 elementary schools to do stuff and have hands-on learning that includes cross-curricular with STEM. And those cross-curricular standards also went to history and to science. So you had one of those strands with one of the core subjects. So all of these images are from the 26 teachers that are participating in the grant. And so we have a representation of all of them. And you had stuff from the first slide from using the Monster Osmos to planting plants to using the VR headsets. We took them on a cow virtual field trip. That was exciting. To using the 3D doodlers. There's some of the teachers working there as well. We have a lot of hands-on building kits, which the first grade teachers really love some hand-on manipulatives. And we also had some micro bits down at the bottom for Plant 3D. The upper left is really great. They made kites with make-do kits, and that correlated to the Chinese artifacts that they were using in their history class. And you can see all you see are kids smiling here, and like they're happy when we get here. When we show up to school, we feel like celebrities because they're like, "Are you coming to our class today?" And when we say no, it's kind of sad, but we eventually get there. So we visit each of me and my colleagues. We each visit each class once a month. So we have 6 lessons that we are doing with them throughout the year. So they are getting each of the strands because there's 6 strands of computer science. So they're doing each of the strands and one lesson that ties along with their content. It's going to end up being 177 lessons total that we add to Go Open VA, which is a resource that Kristen is going to tell you about. But we've also included stuff like social emotional learning, the visual arts. They made light tables in Miss Campaigner's class, and that was phenomenal. And they're just getting a lot more stuff that the teachers always wanted, but there's never the funds to. So when they've been able to participate, they're getting all the things they wanted to, and they're getting computer science, and they're enriching their regular lessons as well. There's more happy pictures coming.
So we're hitting all the 5 C's as part of this whole thing. All the 5 C's are they're part of the Virginia graduate. Turn the page for us. Some things we've heard from students. Do we have to go to recess? They literally said that to us. Turn the page. There was another quote, and I can't see it, so we're just going to pretend I remember what it was. But when are we doing this again? That's right. But we really have started feeling like celebrities in the elementary schools because we come in and they're like, "Come on, we want to do this stuff." It's been a lot of fun, but also the kids are learning, the kids are excited, and the teachers are excited. So as a part of this grant, we have 26 teachers, as we said. We have 6 months that are involved. Each month, we teach them about a computer science strand, and then they write lessons that correlate with their history and science SOLs. And then they present the lesson in their class with one of us as an observer and or an assistant. Can you turn the page again, Blake? One more time. There we go. Okay. So one of the requirements of the grant is that we post our lessons in Go Open Virginia. Go Open Virginia is a site that was started by the state of Virginia for the VDOE for teachers in Virginia to post lessons to share with other teachers in Virginia. So we have our own page in there. We have our own group, and it's got our own nice little logo. Turn the page for me. And then there's a computer science hub. So in the computer science hub, there are, I think it is 8 different sections, and one of them is Region 4. And if you looked really closely at that Region 4 picture, you'd notice it's us, because we're the only ones from Region 4 that have posted anything, and we have 55 resources in that Region 4. Region 4, by the way, includes all of Northern Virginia.
Yes.
So we feel good.
It's all the way out to Loud,
Yeah.
Fairfax, all of those folks.
Nice.
But it's us. I will stand further than that if it's that again. Can you turn the page one more time for me? So also there's an advancing computer science hub, and in that, if you scroll down for me a little bit, there are just these 3 regions. There's the computer science from VCU with 18 resources, computer science from Region 2 with 16 resources, and then there's computer science from Region 4. It's all us, and it's got 55 resources. So we're looking pretty good here. And I'm going to let Tracy wrap it up.
And so the objective of this was to not only help with our students learning more about computer science, but also to build in STEM lessons into the actual curriculum that's already existing. So one of the things that our teachers did voluntarily, we told them they had to tie the computer science lesson to either history or science to be part of the program, but they chose to include all of the other cores. And so they have written at least one lesson that is tied to art, one that has tied to reading, one to writing, one to English. They've done that voluntarily because they're just so excited about the things that we're getting to do. Now, as this project moves forward, it's going to culminate at the end of this year. We will plan for a professional development workshop that will be held in the fall when all of the new teachers are coming in and all of our other staff comes back for the new year. And they will show them all of the wonderful lessons they've created. They're going to show them how to find all of the lessons on GoOpen, and then they're going to demonstrate their very best lesson to their grade level. And that is our presentation. Do you have any questions for us?
I don't have any questions, but this is awesome. And it's really cool to see how engaged the kids are and that they're loving it. And the teachers, I think it's refreshing. So thank you all so much.
And if you get an opportunity to join us one day, feel free, because it is a blast to go in and work with these kids.
We didn't mention, but you probably noticed us on social media, because a whole lot of the social media posts in the past year have been from our lessons. We've been pretty excited about that.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Good job.
Great job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ladies, very much. They're super proud of that work, and as you can see, they should be. So kudos to them for all of that. All right, the other instructional agenda item I have for you is not near as exciting this evening, but we are continuing to review, as always, the resources that we have available for teachers so that we can ensure they're getting the newest materials possible and trying to cycle that in a way that's budgetarily responsible and what have you. So for this evening, what I have for you is an informational item that I would like for you to review and request your approval at the next meeting to adopt some updated resources, primary textbook digital resource for our health and PE adoption. Linda, if you'll just go back one more, sorry. Thanks. I just wanted to hit some of those points and it'll help me remember. So as we did before last year, those of you who were on the board, we did a science adoption, will remember. We went through a procedure where we collected materials that were approved by the state. It's a little different with PE health. The state doesn't necessarily publish an approved list, but they do offer recommendations, and we use those to help guide us. Narrowed it down to a couple different products we were looking at. Teachers and principals used a rubric that was created to review each of those products, both digitally and hard copy as was available. And then we also, per our policy, extended an opportunity to parents and guardians to review those. We put that information out. There were a couple of inquiries, people who asked for the links and an opportunity, but we did not receive any final rubrics back from anyone. And then we reviewed the rubrics with administrators to come up with a recommendation that we're making to you. So with that in mind, for middle school, grades 6 through 8, we would like to request approval of the Goodhart-Wilcox Essential Health Skills for Middle School. This is available in digital, so we could have digital licenses for every student and teacher. And they're looking at, they really like to, again, budgetarily, if it's doable, to have class sets of textbooks that they can use. And at the high school level, this is particularly for grade 9 health. They're interested in the Glencoe Health which is just digital, is really all they're requesting. There is hard copy available, but at this point, I think it seems like their preference is leaning towards the digital. So happy to answer any questions that you may have about that.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Dr. Johnson, early retirement incentive plan.
Good evening, members of the school board. Each year at this time of year, we come to you with the early retirement incentive plan. It's part of the policy manual GCBG. And what we refer to it as the ERIP plan. And the ERIP offers an opportunity for staff who are eligible to actually consider retiring slightly early while continuing to contribute to the school division with their experience and their willingness to serve, but just not on a full-time basis. So a little background on that. The Virginia retirement system, when you become an educator, you are eligible to retire completely with full benefits after 30 years of service. It's typical for teachers, administrators, staff. It's typical for them to maybe go 33, 34. We have some 35. We've had some go 40. But as you can imagine, there's a point in your career where you begin to look forward to retirement and a time to slow down and enjoy family and so on. The challenge for educators, they often get started in their early to mid 20s. They get their 30 to 35 years in. They start thinking about retirement, but there's a big hang up, and that hang up is health insurance. And when you don't work full time for the school division anymore, then you lose your health insurance, and you're not able often to secure an affordable alternative until you're 65. So the ERIP came into play back in 2010, and what this does is it offers employees when they turn 60 the opportunity to retire early if they've met some qualifications, which I'll take you through. And in exchange, we keep them on our division insurance plan. And in exchange, we get 25 substitute days from them. And so we benefit tremendously from their expertise, their availability. They are incredible substitutes. And many of them will go more than 25. If they want to go more, we'll pay them day 26 and beyond. But days 1 through 25, in lieu of pay, we keep them on our health insurance for that year. And so that has been a real win-win. It's a win for those employees in the twilight of their career that, that we can say thank you, but we don't want to lose your expertise completely. And in exchange, we can give them health insurance, and then they have about 5 years in which to stay on the ERIP if they choose until age 65. So today is just the first round of me bringing it to you as an informational item. We would come back in 2 weeks and ask it to be an action item because there are some steps we have to take this spring in enrollment and advertising and finding out who's interested. But in short, they have to be age 60. Currently by July 1, they have to have at least 20 years in the Virginia retirement system. They have to have at least 10 years full-time with Page County Public Schools. They must have done a minimum of 5 years immediately before this retirement date with Page County, and they must have had the last 3 years on the health insurance plan. So in short, 20 years in the system, the 10 years in Page, and the last 5 with us consecutive, and the last 3 on the insurance plan. And in doing so, then they can request the ERIP plan. In 2 weeks, when I come back to you, there's going to be one slight modification. Currently, we require application by March the 1st. And that's a little bit quick, a little bit early when you think we have to get this policy updated each year, and we do so in the winter months. They come back from New Year's, and then we're having informational meetings because they have to tell us, are you in or are you out by March the 1st? Most other things regarding retirement and insurance really aren't going that early. Our open enrollment period for insurance isn't until August the 1st. And so we actually are going to recommend pushing the July 1. You must be 60 by July 1. We're actually going to recommend pushing it back to August 1 to coincide with the open enrollment date of insurance. And it would also allow us to push back the declaration period until at least April the 1st. It would give employees a little bit more time to decide do they want to or not. It would give HR and benefits a little bit more time to host the meetings and advertise. So nothing will change other than the timing of it, and we'll bring that back to you in 2 weeks. Any questions on that?
Thank you.
Absolutely.
You're up again. Human Resources and Business Operations.
Yes, we've got some things to share with you. It's an exciting and busy time in HR and operations right now. We are beginning to think about employment for next year. And I told Mr. Bell yesterday, it is unbelievable. We went to our first job fair last night. It was very fruitful. I'll tell you about that. We've run our intent form process. The intent form process, after January 1 each year, we use our electronic talent ed system, and we ask employees to respond. It doesn't lock them in, but we ask them, are you thinking or planning on retiring? Are you thinking or planning of resigning? Because maybe you've got to move, you're getting married, whatever. Is there anything you'd like to say to us in regards to your position and your assignment? Or is everything great and you just want to keep on keeping on in your current role? So we fill that, we launched that in early January, the intent form process, and we've got that back. We had 523 respondents to that, and super pleased with the intent form process. Only 6 teachers right now said they're talking about resigning for life activities, moving and whatnot, and only 5 are saying right now they're going to retire. That is really good news in a world where teachers are hard to find. There is a legitimate teacher shortage, and only 11 right now are suggesting that they might be leaving. Now, we know that can change. At contract time, obviously, that's when the rubber hits the road, and they have to sign and they have to declare that they're coming back. But we've seen years in the intent process in January where these numbers have been significantly higher. So we're super pleased about that. I gave you a list of the job fairs last night. Mr. Bell and I were in Bridgewater College, and we got to face-to-face speak, receive resumes, and talk about Page County Public Schools with 11 current student teachers, all May graduates, all interested in staying in the Valley. So it was a great opportunity. We're sending a team down to Radford University on February 16th. That's a fairly sizable job fair, and a lot of Radford kids are from this area and from up and down the Valley, so we're looking forward to getting in front of them. We have our own Shenandoah Valley Job Fair, which is a consortium of, I think it's 10 school divisions this year. We put it on at Harrisonburg High School. We were updated last night, Mr. Bell, what was it, about 150, I think, roughly had registered right now for that job fair. We'll get in front of many of them that day. We take a whole team to Harrisonburg, principals, assistant principals, aspiring principals, and we conduct 30-minute interview sessions with folks that day. And then in early March, Laurel Ridge puts on a job fair, which is more geared towards classified employees. So we'll be at Jenkins Hall in Luray, and we'll be looking for drivers and teacher assistants and custodians and the classified employees. So it is full steam ahead for next year right now in the employment side of things. And we're really excited about it. I feel really good about the atmosphere from the intent forms. Mr. Bell has been signing on the spring student teachers that are in our school student teaching this semester. They all have to come through and do background checks and things like that. And we were chatting with a couple of JMU students this afternoon that are going to be over at LES, and just bright, bubbly, young potential teachers. And we want to do everything we can to sell them on their experience here. So it's exciting times. The last piece in that slide, we also have 7 teachers in training. That's the temporary position, a teacher assistant. Those are the folks that are within 12 months of getting licensed. So they are basically long-term subs in positions that we couldn't fill last year, but they've got full benefits. They've got a slightly higher salary than teacher assistants or subs, because they're in school, they're working towards, and they'll finish their licensure before the start of this coming school year. So they'll return right back to the classroom they're in as fully licensed teachers. So that's been really, really a positive move for us this year. That's new this year, and so far that's gone really well, I think. So any questions on the just the job fair and that piece of it? Yes, sir.
Just out of curiosity, of the 5 that are retiring, have you, do you know if they're going to try to go after the ERIP or not?
We have not put the invite out yet, so I don't know that. Yeah. They may. Some do, and I usually it's not a large pool that does that. Usually maybe 3 to 5, and not all of them stay on every year. So I don't know that yet.
Let's hope they do.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, the next slide. I wanted you to know, and actually I'll ask you to go one more slide, and then we'll come back to this. I wanted you to know what we're doing in regards to budget preparation. So yeah, if you can go, that's the slide I'd like to be on. For the last several months, my team in HR has been assisting me, and we've been examining 10 school divisions, all in the Valley: Augusta County, Harrisonburg, Madison, Rappahannock, Rockingham, Shenandoah, Stanton, Warren, and Waynesboro. And we've done this before. It's been a few years, but what we do is we do a deep dive into salaries and steps and years of experience. And so basically what I have, and this is just to let you know this exists tonight. This is not remotely a deep dive into this, but more to say this is complete. We have it. We're going to use it for budget purposes. It'll drive some of the decision making on pay raise recommendations, or if we need to focus on a given group of employees, because how do they rank in the region? So the slide here just gives you an example. This is the actual teacher slide. So you can see that what we studied was teachers with a bachelor's and teachers with master's, because those are 2 different pay scales. And we looked at how many years experience do you have? Are you a starting salary, or 5 years, or 10 years, or 30 years? And how do we stack up against 9 other divisions in the Valley? And so you can see, if you look at the bottom, we calculate the average salary in the Valley, the median salary in the Valley, and then where do we stand? How far off the average are we? How far off the median are we? And what's our rank out of 10? So we have captured this information for every job type: bus drivers, custodians, maintenance. We've got a detailed amount of data that will tell us, are our employees 5th in the Valley? Are they 10th out of 10th? It's not even that clean, because it might be that we're 5th in the Valley at starting salary, but at 10 years experience, we drop to 8th. Or at 30 years experience, we drop to 10 out of 10. So it's really helpful not even to address job types, but even the banding and the depth of years experience. So that's a look at what each slide will look like. And then if you go back a slide, what I did at the beginning was I gave the ranks. So it's a real clean look then. And you can see a bachelor teacher in the Valley starting salary was 7th out of 10 divisions starting out right now. If you look what happens though, when we get to 3 and 5 years experience, we drop to 9th out of 10. So this is a quick look at every job type and where we stand. Some of them we're 10th out of 10 in certain job types and years experience. I went ahead and put the all of the admin ones in there. Those are not, they're accurate, but they don't paint a true story, and I'll explain why. With administrators, I wasn't able to get the steps from the other divisions. The divisions will freely put up their teachers and their custodians and their cafeteria. Typically, all you can get is an index, or this is what we start administrators out at, and then they have their own steps, but they're not on their web and they don't freely publish them. So I was able to look at starting salary. The hiccup with that is in Page, only since Dr. Fox's arrival, and I want you to hear this because may surprise some of you, but only since Dr. Fox's arrival have administrators gotten a step raise. So historically in Page, every administrator from assistant principal all the way through central office staff director, they sat on entry level, year in, year out, year in, year out. So when you look at this, you'll see some positions that look pretty good, 1st out of 8 or 4th out of 8. But again, remember that's starting salary. So if you have an employee who's an administrator that's got 8 years of experience in Page County, they are sitting probably on step 2 or 3 based upon what's occurred the last couple of years in the budget process. They're not sitting on step 8 as many of their peers are at other divisions. So it looks good on starting salary, but we still would like to take a deeper dive and get those steps to see how far behind are we when it gets to 5 years experience, 10 years experience, and so on. But we feel like this gives us a lot of detail in the budget process, and this will drive a lot of what we talk about as we start talking about staffing and what are we going to do next year with step increases or recommended salary increases and that kind of thing. So any questions on the salary piece? And again, there's lots more, but I just wanted you to get a glimpse of it and know what we've been doing.
It's really good.
The next thing is very exciting. Dr. Fox had been in conversation, I think, at one of the superintendent conferences, and there's a company called Bureau Veritas who had served some other school divisions in Virginia, and what they do is they specialize in coming in and looking at the condition of your facilities, and they'll assess it, I mean, from top to bottom. They'll come in and look at your roofs, your walls, your paint, your carpets, your floors, your sinks, you name it in a school building, and they specialize. So we had this done this fall. The board members that were here then know that we got approval. We spent some money to have this done. And they came in and they assessed every building, all of the schools, the school board office, the bus garage, every physical building that we have. And from that, this first slide, you can see they give us replacement and maintenance estimates, cost estimates for all of our buildings and systems. To property overview with assessment, they look at systemic findings. You know, do you have equipment that's 10 years old and is functioning as if it's 10 years old? Do you have equipment that's 10 years old and it's been not used a lot or really well taken care of and it's functioning like it's 5 years old? Or the opposite, is it functioning like it's 25 years old? So we've gotten a tremendous report. And you all are going to see it. I know Dr. Fox was working on getting that together for you all. It is detailed. It is deep. In some ways, it's mind-blowing. It goes out to 2043 with projections on expenses. It gives you recommendations on what should you spend where and which year. So it gives you an incredible pathway when you're thinking about budgeting. And so we're really, really pleased about this. It goes so deep that when they get into different equipment, you know, urinals, sinks, whatever, it even gives you manufacturer, model, and serial number of the different components within a building. So it is incredible. If you go to the next slide, I just screenshot some samples of what some of the slides you'll get. This particular screenshot was a systems expenditure forecast. This one broke it down more broadly into systems. Are we talking about a structure? Are we talking about roofing? Are we talking plumbing? Are we talking HVAC? And it gives you what's urgent. What do you need to be looking at right now? And they've gone through every building, and they'll tell you what it is in a later spreadsheet, and they'll tell you how much you need to be budgeting to do it. What's short term? What's near term? What's 10 years out and beyond? So it is going to be an incredible journey with this kind of information. And finally, I just shared one more slide with you on this, and it just. The reports that we got were so detailed. Here's another example of they'll even give you photos. They'll give you an exact explanation of what school, what are we talking about, how do we grade it, when does it need to be replaced. And so, you know, they'll grade it well-maintained, functional, nearing the end of its functional life, or renewal is necessary now. So they'll really give you some guidance. It's very important to note as well, this company does not sell equipment. They do not sell services. They're not in that business at all. So they're not saying, go and fix this and hoping that we're going to, you know, put a bid out to them. They're not in that. All they do is come in and evaluate and give you direction and give you enough equipment that you can then go out. You do your own bids. You go through your process still of securing goods and services, and you go from there. But this is another big piece that we're pleased to get done at this time of the year with the budget planning coming over the next several months.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Dr. Fox, calendar update?
Yes, so I'm going to bring to you this evening as an informational item, a request to amend the 23-24 school calendar by removing the remaining 2-hour delay days that we had scheduled in the calendar. So there are 3 remaining, February 28th, March 13th, and May 8th. So if you guys recall last year, in an effort to provide more planning time for teachers, we scheduled in 6 2-hour delay days. This past month alone, we've lost 6 hours of instructional time, or excuse me, 6 is correct, 3 days at 2 hours. We've had 3 2-hour delay days just in January alone. So we've lost 6 hours. What I bring to you as information tonight, and we will bring back at the next meeting for approval if you give us the okay to move forward, is to gain those 6 hours back. That's essentially 1 school day. We can do that pretty cleanly without a lot of change by just removing those 2-hour delays on those 3 days. So you might hear some groans from our kids in the back. They like that 2-hour delay day. So sorry, guys. Might hear a few groans from some teachers. There are some teachers that like that, and we understand that. But in order, we anticipate that there may be some additional winter weather. It's still early. I think this is a prudent way for us to get back a little bit of time ahead of things without making major calendar adjustments. So if you have questions, happy to answer that. Otherwise, we'll bring that calendar adjustment back to you in 2 weeks.
Thank you. Your update, Dr. Fox?
Yes, good evening. I do have a pretty lengthy update for you tonight, so bear with me, please, because I do want to begin the budget process, so that's always a lot of fun, so please don't fall asleep on me as we talk about that. But we want to begin tonight. One, I want to thank our ITRTs. You guys are amazing. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Thank you for the leadership you're bringing, and to the teachers that are engaged in that work, thank you to them as well. We want to welcome our newest school board members, newly elected. So Mr. Michael Overfelt from District 2, now serving a 4-year term, and Ms. Renee Bryant from District 3, also serving a new 4-year term. So welcome aboard. You guys have been indoctrinated.
Thank you very much.
Tonight's your first official meeting, but we've certainly talked a lot over the last couple weeks, and welcome aboard, and we're glad you're here to stay. We also want to congratulate and re-welcome, because she is now newly elected, not appointed, Ms. Taylor Alger to District 1, as she will finish out Mr. Lansbury's term through December 2025. And I believe I got that correct this time, right? And then certainly we want to congratulate Mr. Painter in District 4 as he was re-elected to a new 4-year term. So we're excited to have you all. I look forward to working with you, and we appreciate your commitment to the work in this division in support of our students, our faculty, and our community. We also want to send a shout out. Last week, even though it was a snow week for them, they got an extra day off or so, but last week was Virginia Principal Appreciation Week. So we want to send a thank you to all of our principals and assistant principals for their tireless hard work. Many, many things that they do that don't get noticed. So the seen and the unseen work, we want to say thank you to all of them for their dedication to our students, our faculty, and our community. At the organizational meeting in January, the board put out a request asking that we bring principals to board meetings to share new and updated information with them with regard to some of the things, the good things, the great things, the instructional things that are happening in their school. So beginning next month, at the February 22nd board meeting, we're going to introduce a new item on our agenda called the instructional highlights. This section will have our principals and then any staff or students that they want to bring to assist them in that presentation. They're going to share information such as school initiatives, their goals, any other relevant topics, and some instructional highlights. So you all can learn firsthand more information about what's going on at the schools. We will, again, start that next in February on the 22nd, and Stanley Elementary has signed up to be the first ones to present. So thank you to Ms. Webb and her staff for coming forward in February. We've encouraged the principals to take this as an opportunity to really showcase the hard work that's being done in the schools to improve student outcomes, to fight absenteeism, to address behaviors, fill learning gaps, and to engage students. So we're looking forward to that. It will be in the front part of our agenda, and we've shared with them about 5 to 10 minutes for that presentation. You guys have also asked for a strategic plan update. So Aspire 2028 will be presented in full to the board in February. We might break it up into parts over those 2 meetings. It is a 5-year comprehensive plan with a new vision, new mission, and new beliefs. If you recall from our conversations last year, there are 4 specific goal areas that we've targeted: student achievement, the exceptional workforce, organizational effectiveness, and then communication and engagement. For each of those 4 goal areas, there are objectives that come underneath of them, and then each objective has essential action steps. They have key performance indicators. So, Mr. Painter, those are the metrics that you want. They have baseline data and we have target data. We also will include some budgetary considerations because some of these do tie back to having additional costs over time for them. The next slide that you see there is just an example of what it looks like. So this is goal number 1 under student achievement, and there may be multiple goals under each of those, multiple objectives. You can see how it's going to be outlined where you see those essential action steps, the performance indicators, and then the baseline data and the targets from there. So we will be presenting that to you all very shortly. Okay. Another question you all had is, what are some of the examples or types of metrics or data or measures of success that school divisions use? So I know this list is hard to see, but this is just a list of some of the examples of the different data points that you'll see. Some of them will be directly referenced in the strategic plan. Some are just other pieces that we use in conversation to help make decisions. So obviously assessment data is at the top, graduation rates, things like that. You've got chronic absenteeism rates, discipline counts, course requests, class sizes, school safety audits, crisis response plans, transportation. We look at the mileage of those buses, how far are they traveling each year. Budget pieces, how much is certain things costing us. Climate surveys, salary scale comparisons, professional development activities, and then power school data, for example, how many parents have accessed and used their parent portal on a regular basis. So you'll see reference to some of those. Okay, so any questions about that information before I transition to budget?
No.
Okay. All right, so as we begin this process, what we wanted to do was outline for everyone, and since we have some new board members and we want to make sure we engage our community in this process, we just thought we'd go through the process as it's in a general sense. So who's who in the budget process? There are stakeholders, which are our employees, our parents, our students, our educational associations, community members. They can all submit public input on the budget. Our budget information is on our webpage. It's all public. So our stakeholders can tell us what they'd like to see us spend our money on. My role as a superintendent is to gather input and needs from our staff. And with the staff, develop a proposed budget to bring to you all for you all to initially approve and then to finally adopt. The school board, your role is to hold those public hearings and gather that public input. You can provide direction to me as in terms of what your budget priorities are. We talked about that. I'm going to be coming to you, asking you for your budget priorities. And then your job is to approve and adopt that final budget that we use each year. The local governing body, our local governing body is the Board of Supervisors. They have a role in appropriating local funds. So we get local funds, we get state funds, we get federal funds. And so their job is to work with us, and our job is to work with them to appropriate the local amount that we need to be able to continue to operate and grow appropriately. There are a couple of statutory requirements that tell you and I what we're required to do. You all have a legal obligation to manage and control the funds that are made available to the school board for public schools. You also have fiduciary requirements, which mean that you can't exceed the appropriation. So we can't overspend. It's actually a crime, a misdemeanor to overspend. So that's not something any of us want to do. I know Ms. Sechrist and I have decided we don't look good in orange, so we would not like to go there. It's my job to make sure that we have a needs-based budget, and that means we get information from our staff and our community to find out what it is that we need, and then we have to make sure that our budget reflects that. And then the public hearing is a responsibility for you all to make sure that there's an opportunity for those stakeholders to have their voice heard. At the state level, Governor Youngkin, the process all begins in December every year. He has proposed in December of 2023 a new biennial budget, so we're entering a new 2-year period. So that biennial budget will run from 2024 to 2026. So much bigger budget for his term that he has to produce. It now is sitting at the House Appropriations and the Senate Appropriations Committees. They have to review it and amend it. And then they will send it back to the governor. They have to approve a budget. He can either then sign it, he can amend it, or he can veto it. That General Assembly process is also ongoing right now. The 2024 session convened on January 7th, and it's going to end on March 9th. This is the longer 60-day session rather than the 30-day session because it's the first year of the biennium. So it takes them a little bit longer to sort through the budget. The General Assembly, like we shared, they're currently reviewing his budget. The Senate and the the Senate and the House Appropriations Committees, they're putting forth their budgets and then they cross over. They send their budgets to the other. From there, they have to agree and approve a budget that goes back to the governor. So you can imagine in 60 days, there's a lot going on. There's a lot of back and forth that's happening, a lot of changes that might happen. And then it all depends. The governor has the ultimate say to decide whether it can go forward or there's amendments or he vetoes it altogether. In terms of the Board of Supervisors, our locality, their process is very similar to ours. They get the state budget, they look at their allocations, they look at their funding sources. So they're currently developing their local budget. We are a part of their local budget. So in February, we will have our joint meeting with them where we discuss the budget moving forward. That's on Tuesday, February 13th. In March, the county administrator will propose her budget. And then we also present our budget, our school needs to the Board of Supervisors. In April, they hold a tax hearing rate if it's needed, a tax rate hearing, and they adopt their county budget. And again, we're a part of that, so we can't approve or adopt ours until they adopt theirs. And then in the May, they approve their final budget, and then we follow suit to do the same. For you all, in terms of upcoming budget meetings, the next one will be on Thursday, the 8th, which is our next school board meeting, but we will meet early at 5 o'clock to have a budget work session. So we'll remind you, but that's where we will also present to you the FY25 budget calendar. Tuesday, February 13th, that's the joint meeting with the Board of Supervisors. And then on the 22nd of February, we will be at Luray High School where we will offer a second public hearing at 6:30. And then we'll follow that up with a regular school board meeting. Any questions about budget?
My only question is, how do we advertise to the public that we're having these public hearings?
It goes out in the page news and it's on our webpage, and then we send out a reminder today as well that that's there.
Okay.
Yeah. Two last slides very quickly. We just want to remind everybody that they're invited to the 27th annual Martin Luther King Jr. celebration is this Sunday, the 28th. It will be at Luray High School at 2 p.m. We'll have music from our high school choirs and bands. Our student essay contest winners will read their winning entries, which is really cute to see them read. And then we'll have a special guest is Phoebe Schlager. She'll serve as our MC as well as sharing some highlights of her interesting career. She's going to share. It's an interesting career for sure. So we invite everyone to join us this Sunday at 2 p.m. And then finally, we want to say thank you to those of you from the board who were able to meet with legislators this past Tuesday in Richmond. We want to thank you for your time and your effort to advocate for us. There's a lot going on with the budget this year, a lot. And to have you all there speaking up for Page County, little old Page County, means a lot. So we appreciate that. It was nice to know that we were heard by legislators. We hope that they take what you shared with them and do something with it. But just knowing that we were represented on Tuesday, so thank you all for that. We appreciate the effort and the time with that. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Ms. Sechrist, approval of claims for payment.
Yes, good evening again, board members. Just a reminder that this claims for payment does look different than the others since we've only had one meeting this month. You have both check run dates on there. So for the January 11th accounts payable check run, operating expenditures were $236,911.53. Food service expenditures $26,744.97 for total expenditures of $263,656.50. For today, January 25th, operating expenditures, $161,109.76. Capital improvements, $48,812.07. Food service, $13,130.10. Total expenditures, $223,051.93. Again, with that, you have two list of claims as well as all of the check registers. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer those.
Make a motion that we accept the claims for payment as presented.
Second. We have a motion by Mr. Painter and a second by Ms. Sullivan Smoot to accept the claims for payment as presented.
Mr. Painter,
Yes.
Ms. Bryant. Yes. Ms. Alger. Yes. Mr. Overfeld.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Ford.
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Sechrist, purchase orders over 10,000?
Yes, we do have 5 purchase orders this evening for your consideration. The first 2 are to Johnson Controls utilizing ESSER 3 funds. The next is for a roof replacement, also using state school construction funds. The fourth is for 7 HVAC systems, also using ESSER 3 funds. And last is nutritional services, purchase for fat-free chocolate milk. If you have any questions, I and the team will do our best to answer those.
Make a motion that we approve all purchases over 10,000 as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Mrs. Sullivan Smoot and a second by Mr. Oberfeld to approve purchase orders over 10,000. Are there any? Mr. Painter, you have a question?
Yeah, I have a question. So the ones that are funded by the ESSER 3, does that run out soon or
Yes, sir. ESSER 3 has to be expended by June 30th.
by June 30th?
Yes, sir.
And then next year, we have to pay it out of funds, our own funds? then?
Most of those are for replacements. So the first 2, Mr. Williams can help me if we need it, but I believe the first 2 for Stanley and Page County Middle School are replacements of systems and things that we already have.
Okay.
And then the third HVAC there, that's the 7 systems between the school board office and Shenandoah Elementary, are upgrades and new systems. So hopefully those won't have any issues next year and won't for several years. So. But yes, sir, that is part of our planning as we move forward, that the ESSER funds will be expended as Dr. Johnson's talked about with the facility study and having those things in our plan as we move forward.
So is all of our HVAC work complete now, or do we have more yet to do as far as the ESSER 3 support? Everything's complete. Okay, so then it's just maintenance at that point. Okay, thank you. Okay. Just by the way, do you guys have an app that you can watch all the controls he does? Okay. On your phone.
Yeah. I think we need to do roll call. We had a motion in a second.
Ms. Bryant. Yes. Ms. Alger. Yes. Mr. Overfeld.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smith. Ms.
Yes.
Ford.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Board Code of Conduct, the VSBA Board Code of Conduct that we need to approve. I believe it did get emailed. Did this get emailed? Got emailed out to everybody?
You see a motion? I make a motion that we approve the board code of conduct.
Second.
The motion by Ms. Alger and a second by Mr. Painter to approve the VSBA Board Code of Conduct.
Ms. Alger. Yes. Mr. Overfeld.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Ms. Bryant. Yes. Ms. Sullivan Smith.
Yes.
Ms. Ford.
Yes. Mr. Samples, the E-rate vendor selection.
Good evening, board members. So our current wide area network contract that covers the network that for communication, data communication between all of our school locations and office locations expires at the end of June of this year. So I submitted an RFP through the E-rate system to solicit bids to continue these services. I received 2 vendor bids, one from our incumbent, Brightspeed, and the other from WANRAC. Based on the evaluation criteria and rubric set forth in the RFP, I'm recommending Brightspeed as our vendor. The data sheet that I provided to you, if you had a chance to look over that, that outlines the current services and the rates, proposed services and rates, and how they compare to each other. So that was a big factor in determining how the scoring metrics points were distributed. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
So what are you recommending here?
So what I'm recommending, so currently we have Brightspeed as our vendor for our WAN service. The top part of that first sheet shows all the services that we currently have with them. I'm recommending that we continue with those same services. I expect that they will serve us for the next 3 to 5 years. I would continue with a 3-year contract with them. I did receive proposals for 3, 5, and 10 years, but in lieu of where inflation is at right now, I would like to continue with 3 years and see where our rates are in 3 years to see if we can get a better deal than where we're currently at.
Okay, so you're not recommending we go to the increased service, just stay with the current?
That was simply for a comparison against the highest level of service that we might need in the foreseeable future, and compare against what WANRAC's proposal was.
Yeah. Okay.
So I don't see the 3-year cost on here. What is the 3-year cost?
For apples to apples cost, I did a 5-year.
Okay.
The 3-year cost. So actually, Brightspeed's costs are exactly the same as what they quoted for a 3-year cost.
So 3 and 5 are the same.
For Brightspeed, yes.
Okay.
WANRAC's was slightly cheaper, slightly more expensive for a 3-year. They gave us a little bit of a deal for 5 years, but in the end, it did end up being more expensive overall.
And you're good with the service, this current service?
Yes, we've been with, it's morphed over the years. It started out as CenturyLink with fiber, then it became Lumen, and now Brightspeed has taken over everything locally. In the time that we've had their fiber service, locally, we have had no issues. The only times we have actually lost service has been when somebody digs into a fiber over in Culpeper or up in Northern Virginia. And typically, we see service restored within 24 hours, which is pretty massive considering how big those data fiber cables are that they're being cut through.
Okay. So we're going to do a motion for 3 years is what you're
I would like a motion for 3 years to continue with Brightspeed at the current services.
All right. I'd like to make a motion.
Which is actually the 5-year.
Which is actually the 5-year.
It's the 5-year price.
And just for clarification, I'm sorry, but the 5-year that is indicated for Brightspeed at 696,000, even though it's higher than the WinRack, you said that it's a better deal.
So the way that works out, the monthly recurring cost for WANRAC is actually cheaper over the long haul, but because they do not have any infrastructure or fiber laid within the county right now, there are special construction costs in order for them to lay that infrastructure down. And we're responsible for a portion of that. And regardless of how you slice it, the monthly recurring costs plus those special construction costs makes WANRAC more expensive even over a 20-year period. We don't recoup those costs even if we stay with Brightspeed for that period of time.
Makes sense. Thank you for that explanation.
Good question.
Yeah.
I'd like to make a motion that we approve the Brightspeed at the current service level for 3 years as presented.
Second.
We have a motion by Mr. Painter and a second by Mr. Oberfeld to approve Brightspeed as presented.
Mr. Oberfeld.
Yes.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Ms. Bryant.
Yes.
Ms. Alger.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smith.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Board member discussion time?
Well, I would just like to take the time to thank Dr. Fox there's one thing that I am just really glad that has just gotten so much stronger with her, and that's the communication. I don't know how many times I've had people in the community say she does a great job getting information out in a timely manner. And especially with the weather we had a week and a half ago. And everybody was notified, you know, this is what we're looking at. Here's when we'll know for sure, etc. And making that decision is not something anybody that helps her with this, whether it be within the system or with the sheriff's department, the highway department, it's a tough decision a lot of times because different things happen in different areas. But safety is the number one reason the choice is made. And again, everything's different. But again, with the communication that we have all experienced, I can't say enough about. And I know parents, there's always going to be somebody out there, and you know, that's just how it is. But for the most part, parents are very appreciative that, you know, they get it in a timely manner. And that's not always possible. But I'm just very pleased with how it all works. And you're all to be commended that help her with this and so forth. So thank you.
Thank you. And if I may, I don't do that work alone. So
Yes,
I have a great team behind me of people who support. So I say thank you to you all for helping with that work. So thank you for that recognition for everyone.
If I may, I would just like to make a comment and say that I'm very glad to be here on the board. It's a great team. I've already experienced the professionalism and the strong desire to do the best they possibly can for the students of this county. And I encourage anyone from my district who has questions, please reach out to me. I'll do my best to get you answers, bring them back to the board, work with Dr. Fox. And I think we have a great team, and I think we're going to be have a very successful run at this. So thank you.
Let's go down the line. First, I just want to say thank you, and welcome to our 2 new board members. Really happy to have you. And as Mr. Oberfelt said, I'm really excited to be working with you all and collaborating and figuring this out together. So thank you. I want to thank the Page County High School National Honor Society.
Oh, yeah.
They had a nice spread in the library for us, and it was a little dangerous because there were cookies and brownies and chocolate cheesecake. And there was stuff that was really hard to deny, but it was all delicious and really appreciated. So thank
It's all
you all.
calorie free too.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling myself. I want to say, so in my day job, if you will, I came here to Page County High School a couple weeks ago and met with the students and really just gave them a chance to share a bit about what they have going on personally, what they have going on in their school day. And I know we say a lot, you know, about the current generation, right? And a lot of times we talk about the things that they've gone through, the things they've had to overcome, and we look at, you know, our future, and we wonder sometimes, you know, how do we support these kids to create a better world? But I was so impressed by the kids' self-awareness, by their advocacy, not just for themselves, for their peers. And what was really inspiring to me was that they were so appreciative that they just had a chance for their voices to be heard. It was really amazing. So, you know, a couple of our kids in the back left, but, you know, for the kids that are still here, I encourage you all, as much as you want, as much as you can, come to these meetings, contact, you know, us as your representatives, let your voice be heard, and let us be able to be that voice for you, because this is what this is about. It's about you all. I was very, very, very impressed. In addition to that, you know, we did take a trip this past week to Richmond, and we're able to meet with our legislators, and I think, you know, advocate at the local level, but we've got to, you know, advocate at the state level too. We want to make sure, I mean, they're making big decisions for our little county, and so we want to make sure that our legislators are aware of what's going on and what the day-to-day looks like and how important that is, because if you don't know the day-to-day, it's hard to make those big decisions. So it was really nice to, you know, just kind of see how it works up there, but also just I saw the importance of making sure that they stay connected and aware. And then last but not least, just happy new semester to our staff, our teachers, our kids, our parents. I wish you all, a fresh new start and start this off, on a good foot. And I hope we can kind of sustain that throughout the rest of the semester. And thank you. That's it.
Well, I'm happy to be here to serve my community, and that's why we're all up here, because we love Page County and we love our future. I just want to be able to do my part as a community member to not only think about our future for the children that we're raising and hopefully wanting to come back and reside in Page County and bring something to it, but also to our current staff. As many of you all know, we do have a teacher shortage, and it is hard to find great help, and it's a hard job. So we're here to support our students and our staff, because that is what makes our Page County system strong. So I'm here. Reach out to me if you have any questions, or you just want your voice to be heard, or you want to get something wherever you need it to go. That's what we're here for.
Well, it's good to be back at Page County High School. I dropped in on Mr. Kale a couple weeks ago and had a good talk with him, and that's where kind of the idea of the report card came up. So if you're upset about that, you can blame him. But I was encouraged that he was excited about some of the things that they were doing and how they were attacking some things. That was great to hear it. The National Honor Society, thank you for the goodies, and I'll never forget Mrs. Nickerson getting tutors to volunteer from this school to go down to Luray to the rec center to help with tutoring the kids during the COVID, which was a terrible time, And I'll never forget how one kid came in with a grade that he had and how he was giving his tutor a high five, and he was excited about it. So, and he graduated last year.
Can I add something to that really quickly?
Yes.
So through that connection with the National Honor Society, the rec center was able to hire an employee that is there now full time, helping with the kids. So, those things really ripple and impact.
Yep.
Sorry, go ahead.
She's a Panther.
Well,
Right?
Blue.
Also, like to welcome Mrs. Foltz for going to Chandra Elementary. Thank you for filling in, doing double duty that time. Also thank the directors. You guys have done double duty and finishing one up and doing one right in the middle of one. I appreciate that so much. And I know it's a tough time, but I've heard good things as well. Outstanding report by the IT folks. Energy. I love energy. And I'll just Dr. Fox, you might not know this. I wasn't in favor of Miss Brumfield leaving Page County High School to go to IT. I was not, because I knew how she welcomed kids and how she probably saved her science classes, almost all of them, and helped them to be part of the group here. But I was told by the previous administration that she was still going to connect with kids. And it sounds like it's happening. So I'm happy to hear that. And I appreciate her. And I appreciate you guys, you ladies as well. I talked to Page One. I've hooked them up with Mr. Hopkins for our next community forum. And one of the things that they had a conversation with some of the pastors this past Sunday and church leaders. And one of the things that they advocated for, and they told me, we need to grow our technical center. We've grown our technical center every year, and I'm hoping in this budget that we're going to be able to build something else onto that thing, because that's very important to do. Give these kids a future and a job right away. Not everybody's meant to go to college. Not everybody's going to do that. And we need folks that know how to get things done, because we're all going to depend on it. So thank you.
Sebastian, Izzy, do you guys have anything? Anything you want to add?
we're happy to have you.
We are excited you're back.
I have one more thing just real quick because I forgot to say it. Sorry. So I went to the bathroom when I first got here, and I was so excited to see. Sorry. I was so excited to see in the girls' bathroom around the mirror, there's all these sticky notes of girls, encouraging each other and just motivational things. I don't know whose idea that was or who encouraged that, but it made my day to see that. So Sorry. But
I think the snacks, walking into the snacks in the library made my day. I was running a little late, as surprising as that is, and there were snacks, and I was pretty excited. So thank you to the National Honor Society again for those snacks, and Mr. Kale for your hospitality here. And just to echo what everybody said, we welcome Mr. Oberfelt and Miss Bryant. We are looking forward to having another fun group, a strong team, and just to be here to, to support Dr. Fox and the staff, the students, the teachers, the parents. I'm excited to see what's going to come the rest of this school year, and thank you. Oh, who's up?
Who's our new motion to adjourn? Or?
Who got that job?
So I thought someone said it. I make a motion, we adjourn.
Second.
Uh-oh. So we have a motion by Miss Alger and a second by Miss Sullivan Smoot.
That's right.
Mr. Painter.
Yes.
Brian.
Yes.
Ms. Alger.
Yes.
Mr. Overfeld.
Yes.
Ms. Sullivan Smoot.
Yes.
Ms. Gordon.
Yes.
Adjourned.